that certainly does harm Australia's ability to monopolise its position as a big, formerly colonial, formerly hegemonic power in the South Pacific.
Well, the Indian foreign minister joined his counterparts from U.S., Japan, and Australia this past week in Australia for a Quad meeting. What does India want from its participation in the Quad?
There are some relatively benign things that I guess India wants from the Quad, economic cooperation or how to collaborate about the coronavirus or things like that. But when it comes to security, one of the interesting things about the Quad as a grouping, and it sort of points to what India wants too, is it's kind of like a bad group assignment that a university student would participate in. They want all the other members to do the work, but they don't want themselves to do the work. And when I speak about the work, they would like to be a rising power in Asia, and they don't want to have that rise interrupted by any type of competition with China. So they would really like China to be contained, but they don't want to do it themselves, so they'd really like Australia, Japan, and the United States to do it for them, and all the other countries seem to want that too, where you're passing the effort on to everybody else.
Well, late last week, the Biden administration released its Indo-Pacific strategy paper, which focused heavily on the role of India in the region. What is the hope of the Biden government on India, and are the interests of India and America totally aligned with each other in the region?
I think the picture-perfect scenario for the United States would be that India stops buying defense equipment from Russia and probably France as well, and just becomes a sort of vassal state of the United States, following its strategic interests around like Australia does. But I really don't see that happening. I don't think India is ever going to do that. Some good examples of the way that India has divergent interests from the United States is, well, like I mentioned, they buy defense equipment from Russia and France and other partners. They have their own economic relations with other countries like Iran and like China, where they're still major trading partners, even if there are political disagreements from time to time. They just don't see the world the way that the United States does. And that's why there's always going to be limits on the ability of those two countries to fully collaborate with each other.
Well, you already mentioned, there are some talks about, the mission of Quad on economy, but essentially it is a security mechanism. Since Biden started to revitalize, the mechanism, how do you see the development of it, and how much